Hi, welcome to the Parshas in 5. We're in 5 minutes. We try to give you a little idea that will hopefully help you gain a deeper understanding into the Parsha, a little something to share with the family, and in around 5 minutes. It's hard to get it exactly, but we do the best that we can. What can I tell you? I'm only human. Remember I said that once to Rabbi Bullman. I said, Rebbe, what do you want from me? I'm just a Pashut Yid. And he says, who do you think you are to call yourself a Pashut Yid? You know what a Pashut Yid is? The story of the Meraglim is, of course, a tragic story. And I want to point out what is the most tragic part of this story. The most tragic part of the story is that after they come back and they bring the Diba Ra'ah and they say terrible things about Eretz Yisrael, they're not done. They walk around to every house and shakes hand and wishes them goodbye. Well, tomorrow we're all going to be killed. Nice knowing you, Charlie. And the Jewish people cried. They had a bad night. They were really upset and they all cried. And then Moshe says to them, well, because you cried, you're not going to go into Eretz Yisrael. You're all going to die in the desert. Your children will go. And that's the end. Thanks for playing. We have some lovely consolation prize, 40 years of mun. Yeah, but you're not going anywhere. They get up the next morning and they get dressed and they put on their armor and they take their weapons and they say, okay, let's go to Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe says, I'm sorry, which part of this are you not getting? I told you already that you lost that opportunity. Yeah, but we're very sorry. We said we're sorry. Come on. You know, that thing about God forgiving us, you know? I think it was the philosopher Goethe on his deathbed, as his wife was crying, he said, don't worry, God will forgive me. That's what he does. So he's like, okay, so I had a bad night, you know, I got a little shaken up. You have to admit these people were all tzaddikim and gedolei Torah, and they told us we're all going to die. Okay, so I had a bad night. And Hashem said, no, this is a 1-2 punch. This is just a follow through of the Egel HaZahav, the golden calf, that same lack of faith and trust, and you're not going to go in. And there were some people who said, no, we're going to go anyway. And they go up to fight and they get killed. And they come back and they cry. And Hashem says, I'm sorry. That was Tisha B'Av. That's maybe the saddest part of Tisha B'Av, is the fact that, you know, we have this idea that I said, I'm sorry. What else do you want from me? Sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes there are real-life consequences to our actions, and we have to suffer those consequences. And it's a little bit sad. And if we walk away with one idea from Parshas Shlach, it should definitely be, we have to keep our faith when things are going bad and things get tough. There's a story where Rashach went to the Brisker Rav, and he says, I don't understand. What's so hard about having emunah? Anybody with half a brain can figure out that there's a God, and he gave the Torah. The evidence is overwhelming. Yeah, the evidence for atheism is very, very poor, very little. I would say non-existent, if you want to be honest about it. But people have difficulty being honest about this. So nobody wants to really, you know, come out and admit it. You know, I forgot which great scientist said we basically invented evolution so that, you know, we'd have an excuse to say that God didn't create the world. But so he says, what kind of faith does it take? And the Brisker Rav says, you're right. Emunah starts when it doesn't make sense, when things are not so pat, when people of your generation, of your shevet, come back and say to you, we can't do it, we're all going to die. Yeah, but Moshe said we can. Yeah, Moshe will survive, but not you. You're not going to make it. and shook them to their core. That was the egel. They thought Moshe was dead, and they wouldn't be able to face HaKadosh Baruch Hu on their own, and they needed to build something to act as an intermediary because they did not have that trust and faith in Hashem. We are a generation that is oft times pressed, and we see difficult things, and we need to stay strong. Shabbos.